I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, babe.
Hey, baby, just squeeze my hand if you ever need to, okay?
Get ready with your camera. It's coming.
Okie dokie.
Congratulations.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, I'm Leticia. That's my little baby girl in the background, and you're probably going to be hearing her talk because she's talking a lot now. But basically, I wanted to share my birth story because they're always super unique. Everyone has their own different stories, and especially because I gave birth during the whole coronavirus quarantine, so that adds a whole nother twist to how the births go differently now. And also, I did have a C-section, so if you're curious about how C-sections go or what it's like giving birth during coronavirus, or if you're just curious about my story, then keep on watching. Okay, so to start off, we need a little backstory, like always. So basically, my due date was originally April 8th. You didn't see one of my last videos where I met this mean guy who ended up becoming my doctor. He told me that I had to get a C-section, which unfortunately came to be true. That's exactly the opposite of what I wanted, but whatever, God had different plans. So basically I had to get a C-section because not only was my baby breech, so her head was up, her feet were down instead of sitting on her butt, and so she was footling breech, and she had the cord around her neck. So it was pretty much impossible for her to flip, especially because I was already in my last few weeks. So I had to plan my C-section. They wanted it to be April 1st, and I was like, no, I'm not going to choose for my baby's birthday to be on April Fool's. So I planned for it to be April 3rd, okay? And they told me the reason why I needed to have a C-section and I couldn't just wait for her to try to flip or anything was because if she kicked and my water broke, her cord can start coming out and it would get clamped. And so it's called prolapsed cord, and then that's basically going to cut off her oxygen supply, and bam, she'll be brain dead in a minute or 2 minutes. And so that's super scary to hear. And so I just kind of accepted it. I was like, if that's what God wants, that's what he wants. So we'll just plan for it. So now on March 30th, Eric made me a big breakfast. He asked me what I wanted, and I was like, I am really hungry. And so I even took a picture of it because it was a beautiful breakfast. So I ate this huge breakfast, and then I got this wet spot on my shorts, and I was like, oh my gosh, is my water breaking? Is it leaking? Because it was just a tiny bit, but I wasn't sure. I just wanted to be extra careful. I was like, I live literally across the street from the hospital. Why not just go check? My husband Eric took me to the hospital, and I'm starting to get this anxiety because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if she gets the prolapse cord, and what if she dies? And they put me in the freaking waiting room. And also, because of the coronavirus, Eric couldn't even go in with me until I was officially admitted. So I'm sitting in the waiting room by myself, and I'm thinking she could be getting her oxygen supply cut off. And I told them the whole thing, she's breech and her umbilical cord could come out. And they're like, okay, just take a seat. And I'm like, obviously they don't think it's a big deal. And I'm over here freaking out. I'm like, is it really rare that happens? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, then why is the doctor freaking me out, telling me oh, we have to do this so it doesn't happen? And they're not even rushing. And I was probably waiting for 20 minutes. I go in and they do an ultrasound and stuff to measure how much water I have. If your water didn't break, you can go home. But if it did break, we're going to have to do the C-section tonight. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So my water didn't break. And I was like, okay, great. And they're like, so what are you at? And I'm like, I don't know. Nobody's ever checked me. So the nurse checked me, and I was 2 centimeters dilated. And so she was like, okay, let me tell the doctor really quick. So she calls the doctor, and she's calling the doctor who I was talking about last time, who is not even my doctor. And she was like, he says he wants you to stay and you can't go home. And I'm like, he's not even my doctor. And they're like, actually, he is your doctor. And I was like, what? No one told me he's my doctor. So obviously there was some communication issues. She said that she's had multiple patients come in saying the same thing, our doctor didn't tell us he was retiring. He just gave us to this new doctor. So that was annoying, but I was like, that's fine, I could get the C-section tonight, but I want to go home, get ready, I haven't showered, I want to grab my stuff. And she's like, no, he just wants you to stay and you need to put this gown on and go upstairs. And I was like, oh, if I put the gown on, then you guys are going to think I'm staying and I don't want to stay yet. And she's like, you have to put the gown on and go upstairs and then you could talk to him. And so I was like, okay, fine. So I go upstairs and he's not even at the hospital. So they have to call him. And I called Eric from the hospital phone to let him know what was going on because he's outside waiting in the car and he has no idea like if I'm actually going into labor or not. I told him what's going on and he was like, should I come in? I was like, no, don't come in because then they're really gonna think I'm staying and I'm not staying. I'm like, we're gonna go home and then we're gonna come back. And so he's like, okay. So I talked to the doctor on the phone and he was like, yeah, I'm really not comfortable with you going home. What if something happens? What if your water breaks? And I was like, I live right across the street. Like literally here's the hospital and here's the stoplight and then we share the same stoplight. I literally could walk to the hospital if I wanted. He was like, yeah, but I don't want you to go home. And I was like, okay, listen. My husband and I prayed about it and I feel fine going home. Like just for 1 hour, 2 hours, that's it. That's all I'm asking. They couldn't even do the C-section anyways because I ate a huge breakfast. And so before having a major surgery like that, they have to wait so many hours before they can even do the C-section. So I was like, I'm gonna be sitting here for the next like 5 hours anyways. Let me just please go home and shower. And they're like, okay, well, you have to sign this thing saying you're refusing medical advice. And I was like, okay, fine, give me the paper. So I signed the paper refusing his medical advice to stay in the hospital. And actually one of the main reasons why I wanted to go home, besides getting myself ready, was Eric and I still never recorded the baby mama dance. And I've been planning on doing that for like years, probably since before we got married. I was like, this is so funny, like I have to do this when I'm pregnant. And so yeah, if you haven't seen that, make sure you go watch that because I'm literally doing it 30 minutes before I had to be at the hospital. So it was pretty funny and hectic, but I loved it. And so anyways, came home, got ready, did the baby mama dance, and then we got back perfectly in time in 1 hour. And after we got there, Eric was allowed to go in this time because I was basically like admitted because it was already planned. The whole time we're waiting, Eric's on his phone and I'm thinking like he's probably just bored because we're sitting here. And I was just like, okay, whatever. But come to find out, so Eric was actually putting together this awesome surprise for me because originally I wanted to have like a super all-natural birth, like without epidural, and I wanted everybody there. Basically, I wanted my support team, and because of the coronavirus and the quarantine, I was allowed one person. So I'm grateful for that one person. Of course, I chose Eric, and I wasn't allowed any visitors at all before, after, during the labor, or anything. And actually, when I found that out, I was crying so much because like a few weeks before I called the hospital and before the quarantine, it was just like flu season, and so only 2 people could go in the room at a time. And I was like, oh, that's so annoying. Like everyone's gonna have to switch in and out. And I was like already annoyed at that idea. And then they just basically went to like, nope, no more visitors, 1 person. And so I was like, dang it, I would have rather kept the 2 visitors at a time, but it is what it is. And so continuing on with the story.
I was planning on making a video for her on Friday, and this was Monday. And so I texted people on Sunday, or I think like, hey, you know, if you wouldn't mind sending a short little video of just wishing Leticia some good luck. Nobody can come to the hospital because of coronavirus. # this sucks. So, you know, just sending like a little video or something. People are like, oh yeah, I'll get it to you by when. I'm like, I'm trying to make it by Wednesday, so get it to me by Wednesday.
So they had like 3 days or 4 days.
Yeah, long story short, I'm like furiously texting. I'm like, holy cow, you guys got to send in these things immediately. We're going into labor right now. Don't tell Leticia, she doesn't want anybody to know, but I have to tell everybody, so... By the time she told anybody, like, everybody already knew.
Yeah, I told him, like, don't tell everybody we're, like, having the baby today. He was putting the video together, And I'll show like a little clip of it, but it's just like at least 30 minutes long and there's way too many people and it's really personal, so I'm not going to share the whole thing.
I'm there with you. Even though I'm not there with you, I'm with you. I love you so much.
Hey Leticia, oh my goodness, we're so excited for you. I'm sorry we can't be there. And
Hi, Leticia.
Hi, Leticia.
Hi.
You can do this.
You can do this.
We're praying for you.
We're praying for you.
Hi Leticia, it's Amy. You got this, girl. I am so excited for you guys. I'm praying for you so much right now.
Leticia, you're going in right now to have the baby. Holy cow. Oh my gosh.
We love you, Auntie Leticia.
I hope you're great.
We're thinking of you. We're praying for you.
Okay, Letty, I wish I had something really profound to tell you, but I don't. So here are 3 things and a quote. 1, Eric's the sweetest for arranging this for you. 2, I'm really sorry you have to give birth under these conditions, but if anybody can do it, it's you. And I truly believe that. And 3, this baby is going to be the luckiest little kid in the world because she has you and Eric as parents. And 4, the quote, this is tough, but so are you.
It just made me feel so loved, and I just knew that even though they weren't physically there with me because they couldn't be, everybody was praying for me and thinking of me, and it just really helped me feel more calm and more at peace. So that was super sweet. So yeah, Eric showed me that video, and then when it was finally time for us to go to get the C-section, or for me to get the C-section, he had to get fully dressed in this.
My name is Leah. I'm going to be one of the nurses in the OR with you today.
Okay.
More people once you get in there.
Show off your new outfit, Pam.
Very cute.
And I was surprised. I actually didn't have to wear a mask. They just wanted me to put like a hairnet on. And they told us, okay, Eric's gonna wait here in the hallway. We're gonna take you in the operating room. After you get your shot that numbs you, then we'll bring Eric in and start the surgery. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So he's waiting out there, and the operating room looks like all crazy. Like there's things hanging, like cables hanging from the wall, and this big table, and I don't know, it's just crazy looking. Maybe if you watch doctor shows, maybe it looks similar to one of those. I don't know. But I got on the table, and the anesthesiologist was like, okay, you're gonna bend over and I'm giving you the shot, and just don't jump up when you get the shot. And so I was like all scared, thinking like, oh my gosh, everyone says epidural shots like horrible, and this is like similar to the epidural but stronger because they have to really make sure I don't feel anything when they cut me open. And so I'm like bending over, and there's like a nurse in front of me, or like an operating assistant or something, and I was like, are you gonna hold my hand? And she was like, do you want me to? And I was like, yeah, I do want you to. So she held my hand. And of course, when he gave me the shot, I like still jumped a little bit. It's just reflex, I couldn't help it, but they said it was good. And I was so surprised, it literally felt like a little pinch for half a second, and that was it, done. It was like, I thought it was gonna be some big pointy needle that hurt, but no, I was really impressed. And so I was like, wow, that was it? And they're like, hurry, 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 lay down, put your legs up before your legs go numb. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, then I put my legs up, and then I was laying down.
So one of the first things they do when they put you in the operating room is they put these leg cuffs on you, and they're basically like the big blood pressure cuffs but on your legs, and so they just like continually squeeze on and off, and it's to keep your blood flow moving so you don't get any blood clots. Since my legs were numb and I'm not moving them, so it feels like I'm in a big huge massage chair and I'm all tingly.
And so I was just waiting there for a few minutes, and they were testing me, and they were like, okay, we're gonna do something to see if you feel it or if it hurts. And so like they were moving me and like cleaning me. The whole time I just felt like completely numb but like tingly. Like I felt their hands, but it just felt tingly wherever they touched. And so that was like a really weird feeling, almost kind of like when you get dental work done and then it's like numb but you could feel it. That's how like my complete legs and everything felt, like below my stomach. And so luckily I didn't feel any pain. Because like they started and I didn't see, because they put like this dividing window up right here, like right by my chest, so I can't see them like doing the surgery. And I felt them moving and stuff, and like I was like, oh, I guess they started, but like they didn't tell me. I didn't know they were gonna start, and Eric wasn't there. I guess they brought him in after they already cut me open.
That's the part where I walk in. So like, oh, yeah. the lady goes and gets me or whatever. As I'm walking in, the surgeon literally goes like slice right across Leticia's lower stomach down there. I literally see blood start to come out. And I don't know if they wanted me to see there or whatever, because then the doctor, because they said like, oh, the husband's entering or whatever, and he like double takes and turns around and he like tries to like cover up part of the cut, you know, but then he pushes it and then blood comes out the other side, and then he pushes the other side and then blood comes out the other side, and then he just like puts a cloth over it.
Like, you
oh,
just
hey,
can't stop
hey,
the
how's it
bleeding.
going? You know, welcome up.
And then another thing is, did you like peek over and look as they were doing it? And what did you see?
So I peeked over a couple times because they really didn't want me to look. I wanted to look like the whole time. He could look.
It's not like he wasn't allowed, but they just don't want Dad's fainting.
Yeah, lame. Wasn't even okay. So I look over one time, right as at the beginning, and the doctor's literally like, you know how like if you try to rip a phone book in half, you kind of
no, nobody does that.
Okay.
Only you.
Okay. Well, it looked like he was trying to like rip some type of Leticia's abdomen muscle or something. Like he was like struggling like this, like trying to pull it apart.
Tough.
Yeah, so that was kind of crazy. Blood everywhere. Look back another time, and I don't know, there's just like this huge hole. It's probably like this big or something, you know? And then there's still more blood around it.
I was just like really surprised because I thought like I was going to be way more nervous, and I thought like, oh, well, it'll hit me once the surgery starts. But I never felt that. I just felt this peace, and I felt calm. And Eric was just right there holding my hand, and I talked through the whole thing.
So they're squeezing my legs, and they feel like super tingly. And everything they touch just feels tingly. So I feel like them just pushing on me a lot, but everything just feels tingly. I guess they put a catheter. Oh, they're pulling so. This one doesn't hurt. But
yeah, babe.
It doesn't hurt. It's just like I feel like they're just pulling.
Yeah, it's probably got to feel so weird, but you're doing wonderfully.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in a super weird massage chair.
What kind of sucked actually was I've seen in movies, or I've heard other people's C-section stories. Usually they hold the baby up high enough where you could see the baby over that little window, but they didn't hold the baby up. Like, they just took her out and they were wiping her off. So they never held her up, so I couldn't see her because I can't sit up. Like, I'm literally numb, and so that sucked. I didn't see her like get taken out of me, and they just cleaned her off and took her to the side to weigh her. And so I'm like this, like trying to see her from a distance, and so I heard her cry and stuff. So Eric went over there and he trimmed the umbilical cord, and then they brought her to me in my chest so I could just be near her and see her for a few minutes before Eric and the baby go out, while they stitch me all back up and put me back together. And when they brought the baby to me, it was such a nice moment. It was really special. And my mom told me that if you cover the baby's eyes, because like it's extra bright because it's an operating room, and plus they were just in the womb where it's all dark. She said if you cover the baby's eyes, then they'll be more likely to open them. We covered her eyes, and then she just was like opening them so big, and she was just staring at us, and we were just so happy. And it was just hard to believe that was my baby. Like, they just were like, here you go, here's your baby. And it's just like crazy to think that she was the one inside of me all this time. Yeah, basically after that, they took Eric and the baby to like a little nursery. That's where they measured her and stuff like that. And they stitched me all up. After, it was probably only like 5 or 10 minutes for them to clean up everything and finish. And then I got to do skin to skin and try to feed the baby for the first time.
So everything has been going perfectly, and it's actually been going a lot smoother than I expected. So happy about that. And I already got to feed her. She wanted to eat right away, and so I gotta feed her both boobs. And then, yeah, everything's been great.
Yeah, it was actually a really good experience. And with the coronavirus, what I was gonna say about my limit on having one person only, I'm actually kind of glad that I did only have Eric there, because while we were in the hospital, like, we were just exhausted, and being that exhausted, then having everyone there, like, it was just really nice getting to spend those first few days. It was just me, Eric, and our baby, and everybody else we just sent pictures to, and we had to FaceTime my family. So yep, basically that's my birth story. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Oh, and of course I have to show you the baby. Let me show you her really quick. So let me introduce her, because I never did say her name. Her name is Melody Zoe Sprouse. Say hi, hello. And if anybody was curious, she was born 7 pounds, 5 ounces, and 19 inches. And yeah, she came out perfectly healthy and super cute. And ever since then, I've just been adding more and more chunk to her, so now she's nice and chunky. We love you. Hope you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our new videos. Mwah. Somebody wants to share their side of the story. Uh-huh. And then what happened? Huh? Wow. Do you remember all of that? From the day you were born? Well, I guess it wasn't that long ago, huh? Do you remember anything else? No? So, this whole video is going to be TMI, but apparently if you get a C-section and you didn't shave like the same exact day, they're going to shave you. Because I didn't know I was...
Same exact day.
Yeah, I literally shaved like 2 days ago, and they're like, okay, well, we'll shave you. And so they just friggin' shaved me, and I was like, oh, okay. And anyways, yeah, so I'm sitting here, and I got in different positions, so my legs are like open, and then I started smelling something kind of fishy, and I was like, how? I'm like, there's no way I could stink right now. Like, I showered just before I got here, like, just wiped off. Like, how could I possibly stink? And then I look over there, Eric's eating a freaking can of tuna. I didn't know he brought tuna. But I was like, geez, it smells kind of fishy. I was like, there's no way. I was like, geez, I don't know what's wrong with me. No way. Never stink. Mm-mm.